Hi everybody, my name is Shayla Prince and I teach English 2 at Poteet High School. And I've been on this journey to try to do better with blended learning. At the beginning, I actually started off with a to-do list. We were trying to teach persuasive writing, and instead of doing or feeling like we were giving our students choice, it really was a controlled to-do list. They had two options. They didn't get an opportunity to choose how they wanted to do the assignment. They did not get an opportunity about which assignment they wanted to do first, second, or third. It was, this is what we're doing. You can do this or you can do that. But it didn't lend itself to a lot of student autonomy or student agency. Something else that we learned about creating playlists, it really depends on what what objective you're trying to teach and what lesson plan you're trying to use through the playlist. And I think with us doing that first playlist, we learned that teaching persuasive writing to students who hadn't seen it as much as they should have was not a good idea. So learning through that and trying to make adjustments throughout that playlist, we ended up doing another playlist this past 6 weeks over the Hate You Give. And some things that we learned as a group was to make sure that we added a reflection piece, because in our previous playlist, we just had, here's your assignment, go play these games on Quizlet, go do this Kahoot, but not really a chance for them to actually self-reflect and self-evaluate on whether they understood what they were supposed to or not. So going through that whole playlist, we didn't even know if they understood it, what they were supposed to understand or not. So moving into the second playlist that we did this past 6 weeks over the Hate You Give, we actually had a moment for kids to kind of stop, answer some reflection questions on the Google Stream that allowed them to kind of look at what other people reflected on and to allow them to reflect as well. Something else that we did that we improved on with this second playlist was actually having student choice. They had a choice on the order in which they wanted to accomplish those activities for the day. They could spend as much time as they wanted to on any particular assignment. I think something that helped my kids that get off task, I added a suggested time frame for them with a timer. So if they wanted to get in groups or in partners, one partner was using their computer as the timer and the other partner was using their computer to kind of gauge through the playlist and decide what they wanted to do and when they wanted to do it. The only thing that I controlled was certain things had to be turned in by the end of class. And one of those things was the reflection. The second thing that had to be turned in was like their progression of understanding the different things that they needed to understand for the final product at the end of the 6 weeks. So those two things were the only things that I had them turn in. While they were doing their research, they got to add their notes on the Jamboard, and I would kind of walk around and ask them to tell me about what they're researching, what new information have they found, and I kind of formatively assessed what they had on their playlist. Just really the main thing that I feel like we learned during this second playlist was the student autonomy led to more engagement into the lesson. I'm hearing conversations, kids being more involved. They're trying to do more on their own as far as not running to me, talking to their classmates and trying to Google different things. It just was eye-opening, and I kind of was kicking myself in the butt as to why I hadn't been doing this the whole year. It's a lot of work on the front end, but what you gain, like using blended learning and doing playlists where student choice is available and student autonomy is available, is more time to conference with your kids, more time to really stop and look at what they're understanding and what they're not understanding. It's just more time for you to actually facilitate your classroom instead of standing up there and force feeding everything that the kids have to learn. The amount of time that I actually have to look and see, oh, this group of kids really needs my help. So, hey guys, while y'all are reading, instead of reading, let's come talk and see what we need to help, what you need help with and what you need to work on. It just has been eye-opening. My goals for my next playlist are to incorporate lessons where this is the TEK, and how students choose to learn about that TEK is up to them. I want to make sure that they get to also choose how they want to demonstrate their learning. I want to make sure that I'm doing better aggressively monitoring. So as I know, the moment that I notice that these 5 kids don't understand, I have a plan to kind of reteach and hit that TEK before they move on to different things. And my last goal is to make sure that my extension is really an extension and not just extra busy work. It's really extending their thought process and kind of making them think outside the box to further promote or further push the TEK that we are working on. So that's my goals.